Yeah, this Cassidy the Hustler. Shout out Mikey T, the movie star. We on a report card radio. Stay tuned in, man. You already know how he carry it. Easy.
So, Cass, we left off on our last interview and we didn't speak on the incident that almost claimed your life. Can you remember at this point for me what happened in the car accident?
Um, nah, I don't remember the car accident, but I got in a car accident in Jersey. Um, went into a coma for like 9 days. Then I suffered from amnesia, so I lost my memory. So it took me time to get my memory back. Remember all of the hit records that I wrote. Remember how to rap again. All of the tricks and the things that I taught myself about writing and all of the things I had to get that back again. So once I got that back, that's when I started working on my Bars album, the Barry Adrian Reese story. So it was right after I came home from the jail situation. They was trying to give me life without the possibility.
So, that day, can you even remember what you were on your way to do or what you had planned?
I was on my way to the studio. I was going to pick up Neo the Matrix. He a producer that I was working with at the time. He did a lot of dope records like AM to the PM. I still move work from the AM to the PM. Back. Like Neo, he produced that record. So we was going to go pick him up. And pick him up and then go to the studio. So that's where I was on my way to.
So, Cass, you sort of explained, that it put you in a coma for 9 days and it gave you amnesia. So that sort of explains how it affected your life. How did it affect your music career at that point?
Well, when I came out of the accident and I recovered, I still had my same situation. I still was back by the machine, still was signed to J Records and Full Surface. And the Bars album that I worked on came out under the same situation. So I still had the same support that I had from the first and the second album. So nothing really changed with the music. It's just the way that I was making music, the type of music that I wanted to make at the time was a lot different than the first and second album because of what I just went through.
Facts. There was a lot of anticipation behind the Bars album. You reunited with Swiss Beats. What do you most remember about that album, Cass?
Um, uh, the first record that I produced the first record and then made that album. And it was like when Swiss flew out, we was in Arizona recording the album. And Swiss flew out somewhere and Neo was asleep. And I had finished all of the beats that I had already, so I was ready to work on something else, and I ain't had no more beats. So I just went over to the MP and started working on a beat on my own. And the first beat I made, it made my album. So that's one of the most memorable things about that album.
Wow, that's interesting, man, because a lot of artists even like Chief Keef making their own beats now. Everybody knows they've been talking in the last year and a half about you making your own beats, but you were actually doing it since your third album.
Yeah, but that was just the first beat I made, and I didn't even have a beat machine. I made it off a Neo beat machine. So, like a little while after that, Swiss bought me my first MPC, the 2500. He bought me one, so he must have seen potential in me because the first beat I made was hot. So he must have been like, "Yo, this nigga got potential." So he bought me a beat. But even when I got the MP, I was so focused on rap that I wasn't really locking in like a producer would. So like every 6 months, like every 3 months, I'll make a beat and it'd be hot. But I wasn't really locked in. I wasn't really making beats serious. So I did do a couple more beats like on other projects that I released, like Mayhem Music or the Cash album, like other albums that came out. I produced records, but I would only do like one. Like I wasn't really like locked in, like where I could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the last year, 8 months, I've been really consistent, like really going in a lot more, learning a lot more, getting my sound more developed. learning how to jump in a bunch of different bags and just learning how to work these machines. So recently in 2020, I released about 13, anywhere from 11 to 13 new records that I produced myself and wrote 100% of.